Do you want to make necklaces like this labradorite micro macrame necklace or moonstone necklace? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you first how to wrap a stone. So the first thing you'll need is a stone, a pair of scissors, and Linhasita string. This is cord 208, which is our light gray. You can see on the inside what the color number is and how many millimeters. This is going to be 1 millimeter string, so it says PE4. And here's our Linhasita black, also known as PRETO string. For this particular video, I'm going to use both so you can see a little better what I'm actually doing when I am creating this wrap around the stone. So here I'm going to be cutting two black strings, a little wider than an arm's length, at the same length. And then I'm going to take my light gray strings, I'm going to cut 2 more, so there'll be 4 total. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the light gray strings and I'm going to fold them in half. And then right about the halfway mark, maybe a little longer depending on how big the stone is, I'm going to tie in the black string, which are going to be the strings that I'm actually manipulating. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie those 4 strings in a knot. And then I'm going to clip them into my clipboard. What I did forget to mention is that I'm using a chrysoprase stone, which is turquoise. So as you can see here, there's 2 different colors, both gray and black. I'm going to put the light gray cords on the outside. Those are going to be my guide strings, and then the black strings are going to be manipulated. And I'm going to be knotting them back and forth around the light gray strings on the sides to create a weave that is essentially the wrap around the stone. So now I'm going to take the other black string and I'm going to tie it around the light gray string. And this is essentially the knot that I'm going to do throughout the entire wrap. So I'm just taking 1 black string and I'm going to wrap it around. And then I'm going to take the other black string and wrap it around the light gray on the other side. So I'm making a 4 and I'm pulling the string through. And this is your traditional micro macrame knot. And I want to make sure to hold the light gray string very taut. As I'm going around, I'm going to check periodically to ensure that my wrap is actually long enough to go around both sides of the stone. Not too long so that it goes too far. taking this light gray string and it's staying in the same place. And all I'm doing is knotting the black string one way and back the other way on both sides. And that's what's creating this wrap that's going to essentially go all the way around the stone. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that this wrap is long enough to go all the way around the stone. And once I see that that is in fact long enough, I'm going to take out the knot. Now sometimes if at the very beginning it's a little bit more narrow than I'd like, so I often go back and take out the first one or two knots to make sure that the wrap is of equal length throughout the entire wrap. So that's what I'm doing right here. My wrap is complete. What I'm going to do is tie the strings together. So I'm taking the light gray strings and I'm going to tie them together. Those are the ones that were holding this wrap intact. So I'm going to tie those two together. Now it doesn't need to be a perfect tie just yet because I will be taking that out. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the stone in the wrap, just like this. And then I'm going to take the other light gray strings on each side of the wrap and I'm going to tie those together. Just like so. Sometimes I need to kind of move the stone a little bit to make sure that the knot is directly in the center of the stone. So I'm just going to move it just by side to side. Now that it's in the middle, I'm going to make a really strong knot to tie those two light gray strings together, which once again were my guides throughout the wrap or the outside. Now, as I said before, that one I want to make really tight and secure. And now I'm going to go back and I'm going to take out the one in the back because often it's not at the exact place that I wanted it to be. So I'm kind of moving the wrap around to make sure it's exactly where I want it to be. And I'm going to take out that knot just to ensure that this wrap is in fact super taut and that it won't move around the stone. So I'm taking out the knot. And now I'm going to retie the knot to make sure it's really tight. Like so. And oftentimes what I do is I pull it really tight and then I pull it tight again to make sure that knot is super strong, because that is what is keeping these two sides together. And as you can see now, my wrap is complete and I can tell that it is correctly in place by just kind of wiggling around. Notice how it's not moving. It is completely around the stone and there's that weave there. Right, that was made by manipulating those black strings back and forth. And that is how I wrap a stone using Linhasita macrame string. We're reviving our channel, so make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to take a look at our website.